Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Welcome to the Sports Betting Show. I'm the Philly Godfather from thephillygodfather.com, and you're listening on Sirius XM Sports Grid. You can check us out at JAKIB Sports Media on YouTube, and we're live streaming the show on Twitter at Philly Godfather. Now, let me introduce you guys to the panel of sports betting experts. First, to the right of me, World Series of Poker champion Jamie Gold. Jamie, what's going on, brother?
I'm just so happy to be here. I've been having the best time doing this show with you guys. I feel honored to be here. I'm learning so much. You know, I'm a sponge for information, and the way that I've really helped minimize my losses and maximize my wins is by learning from people like you. But I've just felt so lucky to have all of this information come from you directly. I'm getting a lot of feedback from people watching the shows, and it's really helping them understand the thought process of experts, you know, and masters of this game like you guys who actually originate the numbers and get in on lines early. It's just been great. So I'm excited for another round.
With that said, we've been crushing the number in college football, moving lines 4 or 5 points, and some of the games have been losing. So they don't always win where you're beating the market, but eventually long term you're definitely going to turn a profit. Next up, the man, the myth, the legend, my mentor got me into this business over 35 years ago, the Philly Rooster. What's up, Rooster?
Hey, what's up, Philly Godfather? Ready to fire another week. We got the big slate of college football this week.
That's it. Next to him is the man who's been on the front page of every newspaper in the country. You've seen documentaries on him on Netflix, on Vice, on HBO, Showtime, you name it. Jimmy the Sheep Batista. Jimmy, are you ready to win some games this week or what?
Last week there was a little kick in the balls. I ain't gonna lie to you. Saturday was, not too bad, but Sunday was a ball kick. You got to take the good with the bad, but hopefully this week's a little bit better.
Next up is one of my lead handicappers at the PhillyGodfather.com, one of the young guns in the industry who's making a lot of noise, Matt Maltepis from the College Kids. Matt, right off the bat, we're going to go to Stanford, Colorado, Friday night game. Game opened up 11.5. It's up to 12.5 right now. Colorado's a home favorite. You got a Stanford team that's 1-4 in the season with a negative 77-point differential, going up against Buffalo's team that has already exceeded their season win totals on the year at 3.5. They've got 4 wins on the season. Do you like a side or a total here in this game?
I didn't like anything specific, but Colorado, I mean, we saw them against USC. We saw them against some other teams, and they changed their win total. Started off very low. Odds makers obviously had to adjust. They're dangerous, man. That offense is explosive, and this Stanford team has not performed up to expectations. The line at 11.5. I haven't touched it, but I assume public will be all over Colorado here. I had to stay away from this one.
Let me go to Rooster next. Rooster, you like a side or a total in this matchup?
Yeah, I know Colorado has a really tough home field advantage against opponents. I mean, they're almost 6,000 feet above sea level, and it takes a little time to get used to that. But this Stanford team's better than a 1-4 record. I mean, they have a decent offense. They're moving the ball. They've been in games other than, last week. They've been in games. I think they can cover this 10.5-point spread. Stanford's still got top-notch, 3-star, 4-star athletes. I like Colorado to win the game, but I think at 11.5, I'm leaning dog here. I hope it creeps up a little bit, maybe take 12.5. But, yeah, I lean dog.
Yeah, well, I just checked the screen. There's a couple 12.5s out there. I'm looking more at 13. I think the game gets to 13, and then I think there's some value here on Stanford. Now, they have struggled against high-powered offenses like Oregon and USC, but they fared pretty good against offenses that rank outside the top 25 in yards per play. They looked good against Arizona. They beat Hawaii, and Colorado is currently 82nd in that metric. So I think they got a shot to stay within that number. Let me go to Jamie real quick. Jamie, do you got a side or a total here that you like?
I'm with Matt. I'm staying off this game. I'll tell you what. One of the games that I have a feeling we're not going to cover that I'd love to to give a pick on. BYU's at home against TCU. I really like BYU right now, getting 6. I think that TCU with a new quarterback, and they've been struggling. I just think this is a great spot. BYU has shown me something that I really didn't think they were going to be this year, but I'm kind of impressed with how well they've been playing. So you give me 6 with BYU at home. I'm taking it versus TCU.
Sheep, with all the information you have in Costa Rica, in the Asia Pacific market, out in Vegas, and on the street, you hearing anything on this game?
Not on the BYU game, but on the Colorado game, absolutely. There will be dog money coming in. And I think they're waiting for the public. And Rooster I would also, wait to, as Godfather said, I would wait till the game gets to 13, because there's definitely, this is going to go.
You think that's a leverage point? You think there's some early market manipulation being done, try to push that line to 13 and then?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Salty's got his hand in it, this game could go to 14.
Let me go to Rooster. Rooster, how much market manipulation is being done in the market early on to move these lines a certain way so they can come back later on when they have bigger bet limits to fire on these games?
Yeah, there's some. I mean, it's more on totals, as Baba knows, than it is on sides. You can move a total early in the week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, with 50 dimes. And you can move a total 2-3 points and then just wait. Now, the problem is that people in the know don't have any patience, and they'll jump in there and steal your number, and then you got to follow them in and try and grab the scraps. And nothing lasts till game day when you can really get down. So it's not like the old days when we used to manipulate the market on Tuesday and wait till Saturday afternoon and then just pile in the under. Or
yeah, time change. You're right, Ross.
Hold that thought. We got our next segment coming up with Dave Mason from Bet Online, and we'll talk a little bit more about market manipulation in the market.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Welcome back to the Sports Betting Show. I'm the Philly Godfather from the PhillyGodfather.com, and you're listening on SiriusXM, watching us on JAKIB Sports Media on YouTube, and live on my Twitter account at Philly Godfather. Now, let's bring in Dave Mason from Bet Online real quick. We're talking a little bit about market manipulation. Dave, you there?
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Hey, what's going on, brother? Everything good?
Yeah, all good, man. All good.
You ready to fire down there in Costa Rica? What's going on down there? Anything good?
Yeah, man. Football, man. I'm busy as all hell, but you kind of forget during the July and June and first part of August. It's just like you have Sundays, man. Like I wake up Sundays, like what am I gonna do today? Now Sundays and Saturdays hit. It's like, oh my! I told my girlfriend, you always give her the warning in like July. It's like if you want to do anything on the weekends, we're doing it in the next month. You got a month and a half left, and then September hits, and they always want to do something. Like, no, man, I told you the last 2 months. It's Sundays, I'm done. I'll see you Monday morning.
Yeah, we're currently talking about market entry. How in the old days when we used to move a line a certain way so we can come back on game day to get a better number. You see a lot of that still happening, or is there so many different groups now trying to get the best of the number, and they're not even trying to mess with the market at all?
Yeah, it still happens, but it still happens. I don't think it does as much as like I heard you guys talking as the old days, right? Because there are so many syndicates and they're ready to pop if you move the number one way, screwing around and trying to phony us one way, and then somebody else hits it that we respect. We said so many different syndicates and sharps in there that if you guys hit it and we move it, you phony us and we move it, and then somebody else hits it, and then you guys are kind of high and dry, right? Because some other group say, "Oh, wait, what?" And that's why the limits kind of raised gently throughout the week. We're taking 10 dimes on a spread now, but game day it's way up there. For college it's 30 dimes, of course, with rebet all throughout the week. So no, it happens. It definitely happens, but not like the good old days, I guess.
All right, well, let's break down the bet splits, the ticket percentages. Let's find out where the sharps are on, what the public's betting. Let's go right to the first game here, marquee game. We got Florida. They travel to South Carolina. I saw the line at 251.5. I'm not sure what you guys are using. Is there any sharp money on the side or a total? And which way is the public betting this game?
Yeah, we got at 2.5 and 51 right now, open 4.5 and 51. The public's on South Carolina, 69% of the cash, 65% of the bettors on South Carolina, and sharp is a little bit on under 52.5 and under 53.5.
All right, next up, Miami, Florida, they were huge favorites last week, 20-point favorites. They lost to Georgia Tech. They're coming in undervalued here against UNC. Which way are the sharps betting this game? If they're betting it, which way the public's on, and is there any sharp money on the total?
Yeah, currently UNC minus 3 and 57, open 5.5, UNC and 60. 57% of the cash is on Miami, 64% of the bettors are on UNC. We got some sharp on the Canes at 3.5, plus 3.5, and plus 4.
All right, next game, probably one of the most watched games on the board this week. 5-0 Oregon against 5-0 Washington. I mean, this game has so many different implications. Heisman odds, futures odds, Pac-12 odds. I mean, let us know. Where's the sharp money and which way is the public bet?
Yeah, this one's getting the bet the most out of all the games on Saturday. I'm sure Notre Dame and USC will catch up to that at that night. But as of now, this is the biggest volume game. Washington currently laying 3, 66.5 opened. Washington 3.5 and 67.5. Action's pretty split right now. 53% of the cash is on Washington. 54% of the bettors are on Oregon. Nothing sharp yet.
All right, next up, 4-1 UCLA is playing a 5-1 Oregon State team. I saw 3.5 and 54 in the market. I'm not sure if it's moved yet. Which way are they betting this one?
Yeah, we're at 3.5 and 54. Opened Oregon State 5 and 53.5. The money's split 50-50, but 73% of the bettors on the Beavers. Sharp is a little bit on UCLA plus 4.5.
Wow. All right, next up, you got an Auburn team that's 3-2 on the season, playing LSU, who's really underperformed at 4-2. They had some high expectations. I saw the line 11 and 61. Has that moved at all?
We got 11 and 60, open 13 and 63.5. 68% of the cash is on LSU. 62% of the bettors are on Auburn, but that's low action, so you can't read into those numbers too much. A little bit of sharp on under 61.5 or more.
All right, now compared to the NFL, what are the betting limits early in the market in college football and then on game day? And let them know about that rebet functionality you guys have.
Yeah, I mean, game day, shoot, we're at the NFL 50, 30, 30. And for college, we're at 30, 10, 10, I think. Or 20, 10, 10, I forget. But yeah, I mean, NFL, they're always a little bit more. But yeah, rebet functionality, you can bet what we do. I think there's only one other book in Vegas that does this. You can bet the limit over and over again after every odds move or 61 seconds, whichever comes first. So, if you hit something for a limit at 50 grand and we move it right away in 4 seconds, we move it, you hit it from -3 and we move it to -3.5, then you can go ahead and hit it for another 50K right away. Or if we don't move it and 61 seconds later, it's still -3, -110, what you bet it at, then go ahead and tap it again. So yeah, that's the rebet functionality. No other book has that. I think one in Vegas kind of copied us, so good for them.
When it comes to a game like Oregon against Washington or even USC this week against Dame, if you got, just say a recreational sports bettor's got some big paper and he wants to put down some big money at BetOnline, are you guys going to move off that bet, or are you guys more just moving off of sharp money?
No, we respect big bets, man. Yeah, I mean, you have to, right? I mean, and especially, shoot, we take so much, but it depends, if there's a ton of sharp on the other side, and we take big volume both sides, so it's you get those big bettors on each side. It depends, if one game's really one-sided, and then you're gonna respect that big volume bet even more, even if it is from just a whale, recreational whale. You're still gonna move it a little bit, but won't be as much as moving for a sharp, or it won't be as much if you actually need the other side and that guy's just even it out. So there's a lot of moving parts there. But no, I absolutely. I mean, sharps move the number more than the overall volume, without a doubt. That being said, those big 5-figure bets come in, and especially 25, 30, 50 grand, etc. I mean, you have to respect it. Especially, sometimes they pay more too. They just keep rebetting you at some of these whales. And it's like, all right, well, we'll get move a little juice a little bit more, let them pay a little bit more. They just keep hitting it. Why the hell not?
And every once in a while, you don't know who the guy who's behind the whale who's telling them what to bet, right? So you got to be careful.
Yeah. I mean, we profile the guys pretty good, but there is some of that stuff. There's guys that turn square to somewhat respectable pretty quick. People find out this guy's a big bettor, and all of a sudden, like, wait, this guy.
You got a bunch of 5-dime bets that are all square. Then here comes all the 30 and 40-dime bets, and all of a sudden, either getting the best of the number.
It's a big cat and mouse game, man. But that's part of the fun of it. Some of these books don't want nothing to do with the sharps, but our guys are, our guys have been in the business forever, man. They just want that sharp action. They want the volume. They don't mind being a high volume, low margin book. Some of these books want to be high, high volume, of course, but they don't want to do that low margin. They just want to, high margin as possible. But they're hurting their volume by not taking some of these big guys.
All right, next up, you got another high profile game. You got a 6-0 USC team, but surprisingly, they've struggled against Colorado and Arizona the last 2 weeks, not covering the number, and actually almost losing to Arizona in triple overtime that game went to. Going up against Notre Dame, what's the line here? What's the total? Which way are the sharps betting it? Is there any sharp money on the side of the total?
Notre Dame laying 3, 60.5, open 2.5 and 63. 55% of the cash is on the Irish. Bets are 50-50. A little bit of sharp on Notre Dame, minus 2.5 and under 62.5 and 63. But yeah, this and that Oregon game will be the biggest volume games of the day, without a doubt.
I want to thank you, Dave Mason, for coming on from Bet Online. And we're about to hit our next segments. I'll give you guys a bunch of props. Thanks for coming on, Dave.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
You got it, brother.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Welcome back to the Sports Betting Show. I'm the Philly Godfather from the PhillyGodfather.com. And we just had Dave Mason on from Bet Online, giving out the bet splits where the sharp money was at. We want to thank him for coming on. So make sure you guys check out betonline.ag. Now let's talk a little bit about these championship futures, playoff updates in college football. Michigan was plus 900 to start the season. Now they're down to plus 340. Obviously, the big games left are against Ohio State and Penn State. Let me go to Rooster first. Rooster, I know you're big on Penn State. You think Michigan is the team to beat here, or you think Penn State can surprise some people?
I mean, I still like again, you got to look at the odds and where we're sitting. Michigan's plus 340. Georgia, they're at plus 260 now. No value there. So you got to get into take some little bit of risk here to get some odds that are worth. Penn State,
Penn State.
They're 12-1. I took 14-1. But I still think there's value at plus 12-1 on Penn State here. Like we said, they got 2 big games coming. Other than that, it's cupcake schedule. They can dance. If they win those 2 games, they can dance into the playoff, and anything can happen from there. I mean, obviously, Georgia's going to be tough to beat, but they haven't been as tough as everybody thought they were going to be. They're not dominating anybody. I think it's wide open this year. I really do. So you take a team like Penn State or Oregon, or even Washington. I mean, they got a tough game this week, but there's some opportunity out there to grab some value.
Yeah, let me go to Jamie next. Michigan's at plus 340 now. Georgia's at plus 260. Texas plus 1,800. Florida State 8-1. Ohio State's 9-1. Washington, big game against Oregon this week at 12-1. Penn State's at 12-1. Oregon, like I said, 14-1. And the sleeper, Oklahoma's at 14-1. 6-0, 6-0 against the spread. If you had to bet one of those teams right now, who would you bet, Jamie?
I mean, I still love our future that we got on Michigan early. It's hard to say. I guess maybe Florida State. I think that there's Washington, between Washington and Oregon, I think if they can beat Oregon, this really is the week to see if Washington can go all the way. They have to beat Oregon to kind of prove that. If they can't, probably no go for them.
Yeah, and I actually think Washington and Oregon, I think they're both better than USC. So I think whoever wins this game here is probably going to win the Pac-12. Sheep, you still on Georgia? You still love Georgia? They're odds. You can get a better number now. You can rebet them if you want.
Listen, I'll stay with Georgia. I mean, it was Kentucky a Fugazi, or they were 5-0 going in, and they got the shit beat out of them last weekend. So Georgia showed me something last week. They still have some fire in the engine. So I'll stay with Georgia where I'm at.
All right. Let me go to Matty from the college kids, Matt Maltepis. Michigan 9, it's down to 340. Georgia 2, Texas at 18, 100 to 1, 18 to 1. What do you think about Oklahoma? Are they a sleeper here, Matt?
So Oklahoma definitely showed, who they are last week against Texas, taking them down. But when you're looking at these odds, I mean, Georgia's plus 260, Michigan 340. If you don't want to, obviously, Georgia hasn't impressed me, first of all. But if you don't want to bet, you want to get some value on your number, you're looking at Ohio State and Penn State. They verse in 2 weeks. Other than that, until the end of the season, for example, Ohio State, they have a lot easier schedule until that last game against Michigan. I mean, they might have a shot at 9-1 if they can get past this Penn State team that Rooster loves. I think they're both good bets. I think Rooster got a great number at, what'd you get, Rooster, 18 to 1?
14 to 1.
14 to 1. Yeah, great number. I think they're both solid bets. I haven't bet anything, but those are 2 teams to keep an eye on.
I don't know, Oklahoma kind of impressed me, man. I mean, that quality win over Texas.
That
was big. I mean, let's be honest. And if you look at their remaining opponents on the season, UCF's 3-3. That's easy. Kansas at 5. They're 5-1 on the season, but they lost to Texas 40-14. So I think Oklahoma beats them. And then you got to play an Oklahoma State team on November 4th. They're nothing special. West Virginia has a cute defense, but their offense is horrible. And they lost to Penn State 38-15. And then you got a BYU.
Whoa. The game was a lot closer than it actually was.
It wasn't that close. I mean, the Fig Soul was in, but it wasn't that close. Come on.
It was 31-15 with 7 seconds left in the game. And our dear friend, the coach, said, you know what, let me put one in for the boosters. And he did. So the game was a lot closer. They didn't blow the shit out of them.
No, and then they finish up at BYU and TCU. BYU lost to Kansas on the road 38-27. So if Oklahoma beats Kansas in 2 weeks, I mean, don't you just pencil them in, Rooster, to get to the playoffs, undefeated season?
Pretty much, yeah. What are you going to do? There are certain teams that are destined.
And that kid, that quarterback's playing lights out, wasn't he? Dylan Gabriel. I mean, he's become one of the favorites to win the Heisman, and his numbers are right at the top. Him and Michael Penix. I mean, it's crazy what's happened with this Oklahoma team.
Yeah, they're a strong team. I mean, there's 2 types of teams in the NCAA. There's teams that can lose a game and still make the playoffs, and there's teams that if they lose a game, they're definitely out. And you got to put that into context when you're betting these futures bets, because one slip up for a team like Washington and they have 0 shot of getting into the playoff. Whereas Georgia, if they lose a close SEC game to LSU, they could still squeak in. So that's important because every team has a bad week.
Yeah. And you're going to be banged up at some point in the season. You're going to be missing some players, key components on your offensive line or on your defensive line, or maybe your quarterback's playing and his hand's a little banged up. So those weeks are going to come. And teams like Georgia, Michigan, they can afford to lose a game. But teams like Penn State, Oklahoma, I mean, they got to finish at least 11 undefeated, right, to get in?
Absolutely. The one slip up with pretty much anybody but the SEC and maybe Notre Dame because they want the ratings. Is it. And other than that, you lose a game, you're out.
Yeah, because you look at Oklahoma's strength of schedule, it's not that, other than that Texas game, which they ended up winning, it hasn't been that difficult. It's not going to be that difficult.
Now, how impressive is that win? I know Texas went in Tuscaloosa and beat Alabama, but how good is Alabama? And how good is it's
Well,
like Rooster said, it's wide open, ain't it, man?
It's pretty wide open. I mean, Oklahoma took down Texas, but in my opinion, I mean, Texas had more yards in that game. If you look at the yards per pass, they had more yards per pass. I think they won the box score. The problem was yours came out back-to-back possessions to start the game, and he threw 2 picks. He put them in a hole. But yeah, this Oklahoma team, they can't afford to slip up, like Rooster said. Whereas another team, well, like he said, Georgia can. So that's the difference.
All right, let's move on to Heisman odds, the updated odds. Michael Penix now the favorite at plus 210. And Jamie's got Williams from USC at plus 230. Nix is at plus 600. Dylan Gabriel out of nowhere, sleeper now. He's down to 14-1. Jordan Travis still at 18-1. Drake May at 20-1. JJ McCarthy, everything's got to go his way. His team's got to go undefeated. But if the other quarterbacks trip up, I mean, he's Mr. Sure and Steady. And he does have the best QBR in college football right now. So he's at 22-1 if you're looking for a long shot. Let me go to Jamie Gold first. Jamie, you still like Williams to win the whole thing at plus 230, or you think Penix might be the man here?
Yeah, I mean, I'm loving that Penix bet now that we had talked about, especially the college kids had given us when it was about 16-1. That is looking so good. I mean, Caleb's still right there, but it's I wish that I had taken Penix a few weeks ago when we were talking about it, and I almost did and I didn't. I just stuck with my Caleb bet, but Penix is looking fantastic.
Yeah, I think the problem with that Williams bet is that Oregon and Washington, they're both better, and his numbers have been dropping. Now he was, top 2, top 3 in QBR. Now he's ranked 8th in college football, and he was the passing leader, and now Penix has overtaken him. Let me go to Rooster. Rooster, out of all these guys on the board now, Penix at plus 210, Williams 230, Bo Nix with Oregon, even though they're a superior defensive team, he's at 6-1, and Dylan Gabriel 14-1 as a sleeper. I mean, who's going to stop that kid? Who do you like to win the Heisman if you had to pick somebody right now?
Well, if I had to pick somebody, I'd pick Penix. But if I was going to bet somebody right now, I think Bo Nix has a shot here, especially if he has a good game this week. If he has a good game this week and they win, though, that goes down to 4-1 right away. I mean, it's going to be Penix or Williams. Let's face it; it's a 2-man race right now. Barring an injury, one of those 2 guys is going to win it. I just don't see any value in taking 260, 210, or 230 on a something like that.
You still think McCarthy as a sleeper has an outside chance at 22-1 with Michigan here?
I think Gabriel's got a better chance than McCarthy, actually. I mean, Gabriel, he's got a 91 QBR. He's got almost 1,900 passing yards. He's a hell of a player. It's just right now a 2-man race, like I said, barring an injury. One of those 2 guys is going to win.
Yeah, I'm looking at the stats now for Gabriel down the stretch, list of opponents. I mean, he just lit up Texas, which ranked 16th in opponent yards per play and 32nd in opponent yards per pass attempt for 498 total yards. That's passing and rushing. He had 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown, and he's got a QBR of 92.5. And if you look at their opponents down the stretch real quick before we go to our next segment, UCF, 80th in opponent yards per play. Kansas, 78th in opponent yards per play. Oklahoma State, 50th. West Virginia's got a good defense, but their offense is horrible. They're 34th. BYU's 48th in OYPP, and TCU comes in at 59th. I kind of feel like nibbling on him at 14-1. Matt, you sure you don't like Gabriel here?
I do think Gabriel has a shot. I mean, 14-1 is a good number, especially if you think Washington has a tough time against Oregon, which is great defense, one of the best, probably the best defense that Washington's going to face. And USC is going to versus Notre Dame. Notre Dame's favored by 2.5 at home. If they, struggle against those teams, and Oklahoma's Dylan Gabriel, he has a pretty easy schedule going forward. He might have a shot. I do like that 14-1.
All right, hold that thought. We're going to go to our next segment and give out some more legendary college football moves. Come right back.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Welcome back to the Sports Betting Show. I'm the Philly Godfather from the PhillyGodfather.com. And we were talking some Heisman odds, and Dylan Gabriel at 14-1 right now has an outside shot. I mean, that Pac-12 is packed with some great quarterbacks in Penix, Williams, and Bo Nix. But if those guys trip up against each other, he might sneak right in there. And at 14-1, I think you got to nibble a little bit right now on that wager. But let's go to the next game on the board here. You got Louisville laying 7.5 at Pittsburgh. Game originally opened up, I think Louisville minus 10 offshore with a total of 47. And there's been some movement on the side and total. Like I said, the line now is down to 7.5 and 45. Let me go to Matt first from the College Kids, Matt Maltepis. You can find him on Twitter at Matt Maltepis and at TCK_experience. Matt, you like a side or a total here in this game?
Well, I didn't bet anything yet, but this Louisville team obviously is coming off a big win against Notre Dame. They ran all over Notre Dame. But it seems like the public's going to be all over them. Louisville, obviously, they've outperformed expectations. I was one of the first people at the beginning of the year to say this Louisville team's a sleeper team. Now they're outperforming even my expectations at this point. And I do think the dog might have a shot here at the touchdown plus a half point. So,
Sheep, you like anybody here? Or are you sleeping over there? What are we doing? Are you firing or what are we doing? Are you getting any information? Come on, you can't just sit there and look pretty on the show.
The phone is tried. I mean, I do like some games this week. I'll wait when we do Goldilocks' recap. But
Goldilocks. Here we go. Here you start trouble all over again.
Stir the pot.
I do like Kentucky this week. I laid a pick minus 35. I'm going against Rooster. I'll take UMass plus 42.5. And I like Washington minus 3. That's the only thing I like in college this week.
You like the 3, huh? That game's a coin flip. I don't know. That defense in Oregon's pretty good, dude.
They are.
Say it again. UMass plus 42.5.
Kentucky at a pick minus 35.
Jamie's keeping track. Trust me.
I have your.
Jamie's keeping track of your ass.
How else can I do the recap if I don't have my notes?
Well, Kentucky pick minus 35, UMass plus 42.5, and Washington minus 3 in college.
Thank you.
Do you want to go over your recap from last week, Jamie? I have the
This ain't
pencil
the
out.
sheep recap. It's the golden recap. Calm down. It's the Jamie Golden.
It's the Goldilocks. It's not golden. It's Goldilocks.
Let me go to Rooster real quick. Rooster,
All right.
you like the favorite in this game at 7.5? Or are you thinking Pittsburgh with that solid defense? But they don't even know. I think their backup's playing quarterback, and their quarterback's playing tight end this week for Pittsburgh. You like anybody here?
I don't really like a side. I liked it when it was 9.5, like taking plus 10 minus 20 maybe. But that 7.5, I don't like anything on the side. But I really like the under here. I know it already moved from 48.5 to 45. I still think there's some value under 45. But this Pittsburgh defense looks like there's going to be some weather. I'm keeping a close eye on the wind. Right now it looks like rain. But if those wind gusts get up above 20, 25 miles an hour, there's going to be no passing. It's going to be a running affair, and under 45 could be gold.
Well, anytime you got rain and winds, high winds, is the dog live, Rooster?
That's why this number dropped, because you're going to definitely get value in the dog because points are at a premium. There's no passing. It's a running game, and points become a lot more valuable. Now, when you get down near that 7.5, 7 number, I mean, anything could happen, especially with an offensive team like Louisville. So, like I said, plus 10, I think there's value, but under here is the play.
So if it gets below that key number of 7, you'll be looking to take the favorite. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I would lay 6.5 on this game.
All day long. Me too. I mean, favorite at minus 6.5 and under 45.5, 46 if you can find it with that type of weather. Jamie, you like anybody in this game?
I do not. I actually like in the Kentucky and Missouri game over 50.5, and I like the under 55 in the Tennessee game.
I see Sheep's keeping track over there. We're gonna have to add the sheep recap to the golden recap. What's going on here?
He'll lose that paper as soon as we get off the air. Don't worry about it.
Brewster, all I got to do is put a little sauce and cheese on it, and you'll eat it.
Oh my God. All right, what do we tell you? You guys got me laughing so hard. All right, let's get to the next game on the board. You got Miami, who, man, no one expected that, even though they did turn the ball over 5 times last week. They're 20-point favorites. Now they're going into North Carolina. North Carolina's 5-0. Let me go to Matt first from the college kids. Matt Maltepis, you like anyone in this game?
I don't like any side, but I do like a total in this game. When you look at all the opponents North Carolina's played this year in the yards per play metric, they all rank 66th or worse, except for App State, which took North Carolina to double OT and put up a good amount of points against them. This week, obviously, Miami, Florida, you're looking at them. They rank 6th in the nation. This is by far the best offense North Carolina has gone up against. Miami ranks top 10 in points per game, right next to North Carolina. And I think this Tar Heels team is also arguably the best offense the Hurricanes have played. So similar to Texas A&M in offensive production. And when they versed A&M, they put up a combined score of 81. So I bet the over 57 here.
Rooster, you like anyone here? Miami and South
I
Carolina?
lean Miami. I didn't bet this game yet. You got a 4-1 team against a 5-0 team. Miami's had the better opponents. They shit the bed last week versus Georgia Tech, but I lean Miami here, especially taking just over that key number plus 3.5. But like I said, I didn't really bet this game yet. I have a feeling I'm going to have a bet on it by the end. If I see a 4, I'm going to grab it. But right now, nothing.
Are you looking to buy low on a team like Miami who, I mean, let's be honest, they don't lose that game last week unless they turn the ball over 5 times. And that doesn't happen, often. So you think you're getting a good number? You think that line should be a lot lower? If they don't lose the game last week, what's that line? 2.5, 2?
I would think so. That's why I say, I think there's value at 3.5. I think this game will close 3. But I would jump on a 4 right now if I saw it.
All right, let's go to the next game on the board. Florida at South Carolina here. You got 2 or 3 South Carolina team laying 2. I don't know. Florida's got 2 losses this season to Utah and Kentucky, but they do have a quality win over Tennessee, while South Carolina has lost to North Carolina and Georgia, and they actually got smoked by Tennessee. Let me go to Jamie first. Jamie, you like anybody here in this game?
I do not. I actually I'm looking at the Florida State game, where I think they need to really put up some points, to get proper consideration for the finals, and I just feel like I think Syracuse is terrible. I believed in them, in the first few weeks, and it made me a little bit of money, but I took a big loss on them and I stayed off of them, and now I just find them not capable at all. And I think Florida State can cover this number, 17.5. I think they're gonna crush them.
No, that's a big number.
It is.
Number. Rooster, you agree with them or no?
No real opinion on that game. I do think Florida State, if they're going to have a shot, they need to run up a couple scores here. This might be a good time to do it. Syracuse, I have no confidence in whatsoever. So, if anything, I guess I would lean Florida State there, but I didn't dig deep into that game yet.
My gosh. All right, let's go to probably what's going to be the most watched game on the board here. Oregon at Washington. Washington's laying 3. We already know Sheep likes the favorite here. The game's probably going to be split 50-50 down the middle. Like Dave Mason said, bet splits. Let me go to Matt Maltepis from the college kids first. Matt, you like a side here or a total?
Yeah, both teams coming in this game with a couple weeks off, 2 weeks off. Oregon has had a perfect against the spread record, 5-0, with the highest margin of victory in football, while being the 3rd best team in against the spread plus minus. Washington, pretty solid, 3-2 against the spread, 15th and against the spread plus minus. Washington 9th in passing play percentage with Penix at quarterback, no surprise. They want to rely on him. Oregon's a top 20 in pass percentage as well. But when we look at opponent yards per completion, Oregon's ranked number 1 in the nation, while Washington ranks 36th. But the biggest difference in this game to me is the defensive line for Oregon. I mean, they're ranked number 4 in sack percentage, while Washington ranks 127th. I mean, I think Oregon has had a harder strength of schedule. They faced Colorado, destroyed them by 36, who just gave USC a problem. And they also beat Texas Tech. So I think Bo Nixie's taking it to these teams. I'm leaning Oregon plus 3 right now.
Jamie, you like anybody in this matchup?
Staying off of it.
Staying off of it. We already know what Sheep likes. Rooster, did you fire on a side or a total here? I kind of think that total is a little high. I know you got 2 of the best offenses in college football here, but you got two great defenses as well, right? 67 is kind of a high number.
Yeah, well, I think this is going to be a close game, and I hate to do it, but I agree with Baba here. Now I'm going to have to when I get off the air, I'm going to have to relook at my position because I must have looked at something wrong. But I kind of like the favorite here at home. I think it's going to be a tight game. Washington's become a really good place to play. They got a decent home field advantage. Both stout defenses. I think it comes down to the last possession, and I just like Washington here.
Yeah, I'm a little torn here because I'm holding futures on Washington at 5-1 to win the Pac-12. But Oregon's defense, man. I mean, they're third in the nation in opponent yards per play, fourth in opponent yards per pass attempt, 11th in opponent yards per rush attempt. Washington's defense is good too, but not as strong as Oregon. I think the game's a coin flip. I really do. If I can grab 3.5 on Oregon, even though I'm sitting on Washington futures, I mean, I got to take the 3.5 here with the better defensive team. Man, this one's a tough one, but it should be a great game. All right, let's go to the next game on the board. UCLA at Oregon State. Oregon State's currently 3.5 and 54. Let me go to Matt Maltepes first. Matt, you like anyone in this game, side or toe?
So I'm leaning with the dog with the points here. I mean, both these teams within 5-6 games, they already have 3 common opponents. They both are almost identical and against the spread plus minus and a margin of victory. Oregon State, run-heavy team, offense. UCLA, one of the best teams in the nation at stopping the run, ranking number 3 in opponent yards per rush. But this Bruins team, to me, they haven't versed anyone that's good at running the ball. So that's the big difference. Oregon State is a top 20 team in yards per rush. So this one's a tough one. I think it's a bit of a toss-up. So being a toss-up, I got to lean the dog with the points.
Yeah, I like the points. I like UCLA here, 2+4. I like the under as well. I mean, if you look at the opponents, Oregon State's place, San Jose State, they ranked dead last in EPA per play defensively. UC Davis, they're an FCS school. You got San Diego State ranks 127th in success rate, and they really can't tackle anybody. You got California that ranks in the basement of almost every defensive metric you can think of. So they're, the defenses that Oregon State has played really not that good. While UCLA definitely has one of the better defenses in the league here. Let me go to Rooster. Rooster, do you like a side or a total here?
Yeah, I think this is the first game we all agree on. I like UCLA here too. I took 4 already. I expect this game to close 3. Better defense, getting points. I as good or better strength of schedule. All signs to me here. I think this line is wrong. I think it should be closer to 2.
Yeah, I agree with it. Sheep, you like anybody here?
I'm going to pass on this game.
I also think UCLA's defense is just too strong for this offense. I mean, you can get a team total on Oregon State right now. You can go under 29.5. I don't think they get to 30 points here. I think the UCLA defense is just too strong. And, I mean, at +4, I think that's a gift. Under 54, I like that as well. Now, we got 30 seconds left in this segment. Rooster, real quick, you like anybody else real quick or no?
One game that's, not going to catch any eyes or anybody. I like Georgia Southern. They're getting +6. I gave it out on the website to my premium subscribers. It's kind of an off-the-board game. They're against a 5-0 James Madison team. Georgia Southern's 4-1. I just think they're the better team. Give me the 6 points.
Hold that thought. We're going to go to our next segment. We'll be right back with some more winning picks.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.
Welcome back to the Sports Betting Show. I'm the Philly Godfather from the PhillyGodfather.com, and we're going to go to the Golden Recap in a second. I want to thank everyone for listening on SiriusXM, Sports Grid, JAKIB Sports Media on YouTube, and live on my Twitter account. We're live streaming it at Philly Godfather. Brewster, real quick, you said Georgia Southern. What was the number on that game?
+6 against James Madison. It's a sleeper game, a little freebie for our followers.
Are you going to kiss the money line too or no?
I did. I bet this game early this morning. I think money line's live here, and that line's going to move. So hit it now.
All right, let's go to the golden recap with Jamie Gold.
Yes, this is our golden recap for the week. Rooster just gave us Georgia Southern +6. He's also leaning 12 with Stanford. Jimmy says maybe wait until we get 13. I like BYU +6 at home. Rooster is still looking at the Penn State future. Philly Godfather and Matt are both considering Gabriel as a future. Oklahoma 14-1 for that quarterback. Matt likes Louisville +7.5. UMass +42.5. I'm sorry, this is Jimmy. UMass +42.5. Kentucky, Pick'em and 35 -35. Washington -3. Rooster likes the under on Pitt and Louisville at 45. I like Kentucky over 50.5. I like Tennessee under 55. I actually also like the under on the Georgia game. I think they might blank them. So that's an under 56. I got an early under on Bama at 50, but it's 46.5 now. Matt, North Carolina, Miami over 57. Rooster, I didn't catch this one, Rooster. You said it was on the Miami game.
The dog.
The dog on the Miami game. Okay. I like Florida State. If you can get it at 17, maybe even have to buy the half. Matt likes Oregon +3. Sheep likes Washington -3. Rooster's also leaning that way. Matt likes UCLA +4. Philly Godfather likes UCLA +4. Rooster likes UCLA +4. And Philly Godfather likes that under 54. That is our golden recap.
I want to thank everyone for watching and listening. And Sheep is probably going to tease UMass to +49.5 just to get the best of that price. Make sure you guys come back for our NFL show. And that's up next.
Go to get your game on. Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the stakes and the stakes. Go to get your parlay on. Go to get your party on. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean. Visit theoceanac.com to plan your visit.